We gather here today to celebrate the risen Christ. When we recite the Creed, we say that Jesus suffered, died, and was buried, and on the third day he rose again according to the Scriptures. And then we say he ascended into heaven. Now, at first glance, that might seem that he's left us, but he didn't. The Spirit of Jesus is with us continually. Jesus remains with us, not in the physical form he had during his time on earth, but in a spiritual form. And that's not always easy to understand, because seeing in the flesh is easier than believing in the Spirit. Identifying Jesus among us today, recognizing his presence in the everyday, is a challenge. And so a natural question arises for many of us as we go about our busy lives. Where is Jesus? Let me offer a simple story about Jesus' presence, one that may resemble the ordinary moments that we experience in our daily lives. Ruth was a woman of deep faith. Though life hadn't been easy for her, a single mother doing her best to make ends meet for her and her children. She loved Jesus, but often wondered if he really noticed her or cared for her struggles. One day, Ruth went to her mailbox and found an envelope with no return address and no stamp on it. Curious, she opened it and looked inside. Inside was a simple note. It said, "Dear Ruth, I'll be in your area today. Looking forward to seeing you. Hope all is well. Love always, Jesus." She was stunned. Was this a prank? And even if it was real, why would Jesus visit her? She wasn't anyone special. She was just a simple person trying to get by. Then panic set in. What would she offer him if he really was coming? She barely had anything in the house. Determined to show hospitality, she grabbed the new winter coat, the one she'd been saving for over 3 years, and stepped into the cold evening air and hurried to the grocery store. With the last few dollars she had, she bought what she could: a loaf of bread, some cold cuts, and a bottle of milk. On her way home, she passed a dark alley. From the shadows, a voice called out, "Hey lady, any chance you could help us? We haven't eaten for a day." She stopped. A man and woman were huddled in the cold. They had rags for clothing, and they were shivering. "All I have is a little food I bought for a special guest," she said hesitantly. "No problem," the man responded. "We understand." Ruth turned to leave, and then she paused. She looked at them again. She really looked at them. Clearly, they hadn't eaten for a long time. They were dirty, and the smell was strong. But something in her stirred. She handed over the food. Then, seeing the woman tremble in the cold, she gave her her cherished coat. They were overjoyed. Ruth smiled faintly, then turned back towards home. The weight of what she had done began to press on her. She had no food, no money, and her warm coat was now gone. What if it wasn't Jesus coming? What if she had just given away everything for nothing? As the cold, bitter air made her shiver, she felt her eyes well up with tears. She was losing hope. As she reached her front door, a final blow. There was more mail in her mailbox. Again, no stamp, no return address. She opened the envelope, and inside was another note. "Dear Ruth, it was so good to see you today. Thank you for the wonderful meal and for the coat. It fits perfectly. Love always, Jesus." My friends, Jesus has risen and is among us. The challenge is not whether or not he is here. The real challenge is whether or not we can recognize him. He is present in the faces of the poor, the lonely, the sick, and the forgotten. But just as importantly, he is present in you. When you offer kindness, compassion, patience, forgiveness, you become the face of the risen Christ to the people around you. And in turn, the question for us this Easter is, when others meet us, will they recognize Jesus in our words and in our actions? Ruth's story reminds us that we don't need grand gestures to welcome Christ. What he desires is a heart open to love, especially love that costs us nothing. Finally, in closing, a word to those of you who don't come quite as often here. I know some of you are here today, may come here to church not very often. Perhaps life is busy. Maybe faith has felt distant. Maybe the Catholic Church has disappointed you in some way. Maybe it's hard to see how God fits into everything you deal with. Maybe your mother just told you you're to be here. But you're here today, and that's what matters. You were drawn here for a reason. Maybe it was tradition, or family, or even just curiosity. But I believe it's also because deep down, your soul longs for the presence of God. And the good news is, he's already reached out to you. Church isn't just about rules and rituals. It's about relationship. It's where we're reminded that we are not alone. It's where we find strength in the Eucharist when we're weak, hope when we're lost, and joy when we're overwhelmed. And it's where Jesus continues to show up in word, in sacrament, and in each other. So I invite you, don't let this be the only time we see you this year. Come back, not out of guilt, but out of hope. Come back not because you have it all figured out, but because Jesus wants to meet you in the middle of your real, messy, beautiful life. Whether you come every week or haven't been here in years, there is a place here for you. This Easter, may we not only celebrate the resurrection of Christ, but also commit to seeing him more clearly and being in his presence more faithfully. Let us live in such a way that others, especially the forgotten, the weary, the broken, can look at us and say, I saw Jesus today. He is risen. He is here. Happy Easter.